I can't do a TED Talk, is what I used to say to myself. I'm not Steve Jobs, nor am I Ken Robinson, but I really want to, and I know I'm supposed to. So, if you've ever wanted to be a TED speaker, watch my story, and I'll explain how I became an accidental TED speaker. With my early days of business, I had a series of events. I had an inspirational speaking event that I was hosting, but also I was being invited to lots of different events to go and speak to, like really massive events, which I did not personally think that I was influencing people. And one of my good collaborators and business partners said to me, "You really need to do TED Talks. Have you ever done one before?" And I said, "No." And I wasn't interested. And the second time I was asked again, "You should do a TED Talk." And by this time I knew what a TED Talk was. I said, Bill Gates does TED Talks, Steve Jobs does TED Talks, but Matty Lisika does not do TED Talks. And basically what I was doing is I was putting myself down because I did not see myself influential enough and big enough to be on a platform such as TED. And that's what a lot of people do. So the second time this person approached me, I literally kind of put myself down. So I didn't do any TED Talks. The last time I really got the message was I just finished doing a major event at the Excel conference in London. So if you know the Excel conference, the Excel is massive. It's like the biggest, the most renowned business conference in the UK. And I had just finished being a keynote speaker and also an event exhibitor at the London Graduates Fair. And I was really, really pumped up, and my collaborators was like, "Wow, Matty, this is amazing. How did you do this?" My business partner sat me down again, and you know what she said? "Matty, you need to do a TED Talk." And by this time, I kind of realized that, everyone else was trying to tell me something, but I wasn't listening. This time, I was willing to listen, because the first two times, I was too scared, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't do it. So by this time, I listened to my good collaborator and friend, and she said to me, "Matty, you have the potential to influence people. You need to do a TED Talk." I said, "Well, how do I do a TED Talk?" And she said, "Well, you gotta look for it. You gotta approach TED, right?" I thought to myself, okay, I may feel like I am a nobody. I may feel like I could never do this thing because I'm not Steve Jobs, I'm not Bill Gates, but I do have something to offer. I have a story, I have influenced people around me, and I am really making a difference. So I made that decision that what I was going to do is approach TED Talk myself in every local TEDx organization and send them an email and say, "Hey, I believe I have something to offer you and I would like to do a TED Talk." So the same day I went on Twitter, I went on social media, and I actually wrote down this tweet which says, "I am ready to do a TED Talk. Let's do this. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if it takes me a year, 2 years, but I am ready to do my TED Talk." Instantly, as I sent the tweet out, one of my followers replied and said to me, "TEDx speaking competition, the future of work. Perfect title, perfect opportunity." And I was like, bang, oh my God, this is not happening. This is real. And for that moment, I realized that each time we have opportunity to do great things, we put them away because we're too scared. I replied to that email, signed up for the speaking competition, and I went for the TED Talk. At the TED Talk competition, there was only going to be 3 winners, right? And I turned up and I said to myself, I have to turn up at this TED Talk like I mean business. Now, everybody else is gonna turn up at this TED Talk Toastmaster style, suited and booted, but I have to do something completely different and unique that is gonna stick into the judge's mind. And what I did that day was I found myself my superhero t-shirt. I wore my t-shirt, I wore a hat, I turned up at the event, and I was myself, like times 10. And I psyched myself up in the mirror like continuously. When I got there, it was my turn to speak and I did my talk. At the end, The judges were baffled because I didn't win the competition. Let me just tell you this. I did not win the competition, the speaking competition. But this is where things get really strange and really amazing. Judges, we finished the talk and the judges are just talking to everybody and they come up to me and they say, Matty, your talk was amazing. And I'm like, what? Really? Who comes into the room talking about the future of work is child's play with a superhero t-shirt, kicks it in and just like has us wrapped up? Nobody. That has never happened before. So the judges really didn't know what to do with me. Okay, so we have 3 spots for 3 winners, but right now we're gonna have to open another spot for another winner. But they didn't tell me that straight away. It took a few days for that to happen. So after a few chit chats, and they took my number, they took my details, and they said, you know what, we just want to keep your information just in case someone, backs out of the speaking competition on the big day, on the TED Talk. So we're gonna take your details. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So they took my details, and I was like, okay. So to my details. And it was like Monday, I did my TED Talks. Tuesday, I was still having conversations, email and tweets and so on and so on. Friday morning, I get a call from this organization, JCI, and they say to me, Matty, we've had a really long thought about your talk and everything's been happening at Tech. And we would really like you to come and be a speaker at our TEDx conference. And I was like, yes, I really was like completely out of my mind. Like I didn't scream straight away, but I was like, I just couldn't contain. I couldn't contain. I put the phone in silence and it was like, and then I put it back. I was like, yes, of course I can do this, no problem. So that is really the story of how I got into my TED Talk. I always wanted to be a speaker. I always saw myself as a speaker. I was speaking when I was employed full-time and I was really making a difference, but I wanted to do what my heart was calling me to do. But the thing is, I didn't realize that I had the potential. Like I knew, but I didn't know. And a lot of people are guilty of that. And it took me realizing that it was time for me to really step in and step up into like my talent, my skill, the fact that I am influential, I can be a change maker, I am a change maker, I am an agent of change, but I just didn't see that. So I had to tap into the reason why I should be doing this TED Talk. So my reason for doing TED had completely changed from what I was seeing, from what my friend had previously said to me, to what I was now doing and what I was about to do. So my 3 tips to succeed as a TEDx speaker is 1, you have to see yourself as a TEDx speaker. First of all, it starts here. Really, it's all a matter of mind over matter. Like literally, you really have to see yourself that way. Because when you come across to a TED organization, and there's so many organizations that run TEDx talks, you have to believe in your brand enough that you can say to them, I have this to bring to the table. If you feel in your heart of heart that you are a speaker, then be that person. Don't let other people tell you otherwise. Don't let people tell you that you shouldn't. Don't even let your mom or your dad or your best friend tell you that you can't, because, it's just their words. Oprah Winfrey has a quote that I really love, is preparation meeting the moments of opportunity, which means you need to be prepared at all times. You need to be on your game like 24/7. If you're a speaker, you need to be speaking at events. You could have Facebook Live events. You could have a YouTube channel where you're continuously sharing your speaking skills or your speaking tips or anything that you can actually speak about, but have a platform where you are continuously grinding, continuously training yourself, continuously using your gift over and over and over again. Final rule to success: listen, this does not happen overnight. Be prepared to work hard. When I decided I was going to head on for this TED Talk competition to become a TED speaker, I already said to myself in my head, look, it's going to take me 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I don't care. I'm going to do this, because by this time, my mind, my thought, my soul, my spirit, everything was connected. I was ready to do this. So I said to myself, I don't care how long it's going to take for me to become a TED speaker, but I'm going to do it. And funny enough, it happened quicker than I thought, because it was my time. So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen overnight like it happened for me. It could take a year or 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows, it could take 10 years. But if you're willing to be patient and persistent and consistent, it will happen. If you want to be a TED speaker or a speaker in any kind of way, leave me a comment and I will answer you. If you connected with the messages video, as always, share. Thank you for having me, Paul.